Who is it who walked the streets of Galilee, healing the sick and setting the captives free? Do you know who it is? Who is it who for sinners shed his blood, and now for cleansing all can plunge beneath that flood? It's Jesus. But do you know who he is? He's the image of the invisible God, and he's the brightness of his glory, the first, the last, the future, the past. He is God. He's the image of the invisible God, and he's the brightness of his glory, the first, the last, the future, the past. He is God, the first, the last. He's my future and my past. He is God, God.
And here we are once again, my brothers and sisters in Jesus Christ. We're going to power through Leviticus 22 today. You know, God, in the last several chapters of the book of Leviticus, is just setting up rules, standards, procedures, and things that are punishable by death if violated. He is so strict and so specific. What's he trying to do in these chapters? He's trying to tell his people, look, I'm not like all the pagan gods that you've seen worshipped in your 400 years in Egypt or that you know about in Canaan land. No, that's not me. If you're going to be mine, you're going to be set apart. If you're going to follow me, you're going to be absolutely holy, and you're going to adhere to the restrictions and procedures and rituals that I demand. That's what the Lord does in Leviticus chapter 22. So let's look at it. It's God talking. Tell Aaron, that's the high priest, and his sons to treat with respect the sacred offerings. Okay? First thing across the bow, Leviticus 22. I need you to make sure you understand how important these offerings are to me. This is not casual. You need to adjust your attitude and your behavior to make sure you do exactly what I say, exactly when I say to do it. Okay, it's sacred, it's holy. All right, treat these with respect the sacred offerings the Israelites consecrate to me so that they will not profane my holy name. Let's count them. I am the Lord. There's number one. Leviticus 22:3. Say to them, for the generations to come, if any of your descendants is ceremonially unclean, remember, that's not necessarily excuse me, to make them unclean, okay? If that happens, and yet they come near the sacred offerings that the Israelites consecrate to the Lord, that person must be cut off from my presence. So I'm not going to accept Anybody that's ceremonially unclean, I am the Lord. That's 2. All right? They're going to be cut off if they do that. If a descendant of Aaron has an infectious skin disease or a bodily discharge, he may not eat the sacred offerings until he is cleansed. He will also be unclean if he touches something defiled by a corpse or by anyone who has an emission of semen, or if he touches any crawling thing that makes him unclean, or any person who makes him unclean, whatever the uncleanness may be. The one who touches any such thing will be unclean till evening. He must not eat any of the sacred offerings unless he has bathed himself with water. Notice there is a path back, but if you're unclean, don't get involved in the sacrificial system till you go through these procedures. When the sun goes down, he will be clean, and after that he may eat the sacred offerings, for they are his food. Remember that the Levites live off of these offerings. That's how they sustain themselves. But he must not eat anything found dead or torn by wild animals, and so become unclean through it. I am the Lord. That's number 3. All right. The priests are to keep my requirements so that they do not become guilty and die. Here we go. Capital punishment. You violate these things, you're risking your life. All right? You might become guilty and die for treating them with contempt. I am the Lord who makes you holy. Number 4. Okay. What's God telling us? This is God talking to you. Pay attention. That's what he's telling us. No one outside a priest's family may eat the sacred offering, nor may the guest of a priest or his hired worker eat it. Again, this is all set aside for God's use and God's purpose. But if a priest buys a slave with money, or if a slave is born in his household, that slave can eat his food, right? Because he's part of the family. If a priest's daughter marries anyone other than a priest, she may not eat any of the sacred contributions. But if a priest's daughter becomes a widow or is divorced, yet has no children, and she returns to live in her father's house as in her youth, she may eat of her father's food. No unauthorized person, however, may eat any of it. God is super strict, but again, he's also lenient enough to say there are exceptions. If anyone eats a sacred offering by mistake, he must make restitution for the priest for the offering and add 1/5 of the value to it. All right, so somebody just isn't paying attention, does what God doesn't want. Okay, they have to pay. The priest must not desecrate the sacred offerings the Israelites present to the Lord by allowing them to eat the sacred offerings and so bring upon them guilt requiring payment. I am the Lord who makes you holy. There makes them holy. There's number 5. Okay, God is instituting these restrictions. This is how I want it. I'm God. That's a really good reason to pay attention, isn't it? Wouldn't you say? There's 5. The Lord said to Moses, "Speak to Aaron and his sons and to all the Israelites and say to them, if any of you, either an Israelite or an alien living in Israel, presents a gift for a burnt offering to the Lord, either to fulfill a vow or as a free will offering, you must present a male without defect from the cattle, sheep, or goats in order that it may be accepted on your behalf." So what's his requirement? No defect in the offering. Do not bring anything with a defect, because it will not be accepted on your behalf. When anyone brings from the herd or flock a fellowship offering to the Lord to fulfill a special vow or as a free will offering, it must be without defect or blemish to be acceptable. Don't offer to the Lord the blind, the injured, or the maimed, or anything with warts or festering or running sores. Do not place any of these on the altar as an offering made to the Lord by fire. You may, however, present as a freewill offering an ox or a sheep that is deformed or stunted, but it will not be accepted in fulfillment of a vow. You must not offer to the Lord an animal whose testicles are bruised, crushed, or torn, or cut. You must not do this in your own. What's going on here? God is saying, look, this is the way it's going to be. You're going to honor me with this sacrificial system. You're going to respect it. You're going to be penalized if you don't. I am the Lord. We're at number 5 of those so far today. Don't bring a defect. Don't bring anything that's not complete and good. Why? Because, I don't want your trash. I don't want your I was going to get rid of this animal anyway, so I guess I'll go sacrifice it to the Lord. No, we honor the Lord with the best we have. That's the bottom line. And you must not accept such animals from the hand of a foreigner and offer them as the food of your God. They will not be accepted on your behalf because they are deformed, because they have defects. The Lord said to Moses, here we know he's talking again, when a calf, a lamb, or a goat is born, it is to remain with its mother for 7 days, and on the 8th day, and from the 8th day on, it will be acceptable as an offering. All right, so in its first week of infancy, it's not sacrificable. Is that a word? But after that, it is. All right? Do not slaughter a cow or a sheep or its young on the same day. When you sacrifice a thank offering to the Lord, sacrifice it in such a way that it will be accepted on your behalf. There's the whole thing. Do it the way I told you to do it. It must be eaten that same day. Leave none of it till morning. I am the Lord. There's number 6. All right? He keeps emphasizing this to us. Keep my commands and follow them. I am the Lord. Number 7. Do not profane my holy name. I must be acknowledged as holy by the Israelites. I am the Lord. Number 8. Who makes you holy and who brought you out of Egypt to be your God. I am the Lord. 9 times. Is that 9? Yeah, wait. 9. That's it. 9 times, I am the Lord. What is that about? How many times does God have to say it before we take it seriously? And he's very clear. You and I, we're not involved in the sacrificial system. We may not at all understand all the ins and outs of this, but these people, particularly the line of Levi, is going to be bound by the rules we just read for centuries to come, generations to come. It just tells you how important this is to God, that picture of the Christ that is coming, right? The redemptive plan that will be fulfilled in Jesus Christ. This sacrificial system is like a picture of that. It's going to be a sacrifice of the Lamb of God instead of an animal, but innocent blood will be shed for the guilty. It needs to be done exactly as God says. The priests who eat it need to eat it exactly as God says. They share it, but they have to share it exactly as God says. It's a good lesson for us. We kind of have this idea that God is this great big grandpa in the sky that's just going to give us a hug no matter what we do. And yes, he does lavish his love on us. We can't deny that. 1 John 4 would tell you that. But nonetheless, his love is bound up in strict requirements. I can't come to God any way I want. I have to come through Jesus Christ. Well, in the Old Testament, we see that they're not made holy any way they want. They have to come through the procedures that God has laid down. I'll see you in chapter 23. God bless you, church. Serving well today.
Who is it who for sinners shed his blood, and now for cleansing all can plunge beneath that flood? It's Jesus.